Hey there. So you caught me getting ready to peruse or some of my Christmas presents. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that jazz. My name's Aaron. This is the Call to Cinema, and today we're looking at why and why not to buy 4K in 2024 and beyond. It's hard to believe it's been 8 years since 4K has come around, but it has been that long. And it's starting to go up in sales now. It's starting to actually pick up to the point where, not quite where companies want it to be, but it's beginning to get there. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that people are starting to buy into 4K now, and you're seeing a lot more boutique labels that are putting 4Ks out. We're still getting some 4Ks and Blu-rays, which I'm glad, because that's preferably the way it should go. But we're seeing more now where you're getting the 4K disc and you're not getting the Blu-ray disc with it. You have to make that choice on which one to choose, and sometimes you don't get that choice. You just have 4K, but we'll put that into the other column when we talk about the potential negatives of collecting 4K. First, let's talk about some of the positives. Of course, the obvious ones are going to be, one, the when a 4K remaster is done well, both the picture and the audio quality should be like it is, or as close as they can get it to what you would have seen in the theater. That's what 4K was meant to do. The other things that 4K, by far and large, are supposed to be a format that is region free. So 4K movies, and they're supposed to, but not all of them do, be something that you can play on your 4K player anywhere in the world. Shout Factory, I'm looking at you for one of the things we're going to be talking about in the next column. The actual first 4K I bought, and I have no issues with admitting this, was this one right here. I didn't have a 4K player at the time, but it sort of became the template for how I was going to collect 4K when I started out. It was something that both me and my better half had decided on. See, what we decided was that for us, 4K was going to be like theater quality, and it was coming near a time. We didn't know how close it was coming near that time that we would be inside for a bit, and getting to the theater would not be the most easy thing that we could do. Ironically, we had started collecting 4Ks, and me and my better half said, okay, we're going to collect a lot of the stuff, a lot of the newer stuff that comes out, because we're going to see movies that we just don't have the time to, or just can't afford to now, to go to see in the theater, but we still want to see them with great quality. So we'll pick up the 4K disc when it comes out. They're usually lower priced when they initially come out, and we live close to Walmart, so we'd go there on a Tuesday, pick up the movies we wanted to see, and we pick up things like that we really wanted to own as well. Boxing Day and Black Friday was massive for us, because we'd go together and we'd go to Best Buy, and we'd go to Walmart, and we'd pick up 4Ks that we want. We used to have a lot of fun doing this, and we did this together. I remember, just an example of this, I wanted to see Detective Pikachu, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to see this one in the theater. I actually really like this movie, by the way. I got to watch this one at home, and I felt good about watching it at home. Of course, there's the classic ones sent to me by a viewer. There's the two of the four or five now First Blood films. I have like five of them anyway. But one of the things that we first got us into it was, we're Christopher Nolan fans, and although this is not my favorite like Batman trilogy, like I'm more old school. I do like the older Batman stuff, and I do like the Batman. But this is interesting. This is good. But I like the other Nolan films, and we gladly went and picked up pretty much everything Nolan on 4K that we could at the time that we really wanted to. For us, watching a 4K at home was akin to like getting ready and getting excited to go to the movie theater. We hoped that was going to give us that kind of movie theater quality. We had a fairly large screen television set and a decent sound system set up at the time. So watching a movie at home without the extra costs and being able to have our snacks and just be able to focus on the film there in our own home was really, really nice and really interesting and really fun to do. I kind of miss those times, to be honest with you. I missed being able to go to like a Walmart and being able to pick up like the latest 4K of a title and just like sitting down with my better half and watching it. We did this for so many movies, some movies that may not have been like Mummy that weren't so critically acclaimed or Solo when it came out, but it was really fun to have, and we're glad that we could get the movie and own it because we are physical media people. That was a big thing for us. Of course, with the advent of HDR, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, uh, the sound and picture quality, and the gamut of colors that you could get was pretty amazing, and was pretty mind blowing. There's some incredible sets out there. Uh, I find that for me, a lot of the older films that have like actual like physical like elements really are ones that can really show more in 4K because you have the elements to work with. And sometimes for a more modern film, there's not it doesn't seem like there's that much of a difference because they're already shooting on a 4 or 8K 8 or 6K camera anyway. So um, the difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K at sometimes it gets negligible. But above all, for us, it was a way to watch some films that we really wanted to watch and enjoy them. And it became a thing that we did together as a couple. She doesn't always watch movies with me, and she doesn't always like the type of movies that I like. So when there was a time that we would go out together and we were to pick out something, it was a great experience. So that's a personal reason for buying 4K. What are some good reasons? Well, picture quality, sound quality overall, and if you get them at the right time, then you can get them where the cost between the Blu-ray and the 4K is actually pretty close. We're not going to be talking about boutique labels where other factors are going to put it into like a larger price point. We're going to be talking about the regular Blu-ray, regular 4Ks that you get at your store or at your Amazon or luckily, hopefully a brick and mortar store. So I got my 4Ks back here. I'll just point out, for instance, here's Bumblebee. Way better film than I thought it was going to be, by the way, because I really was not a massive fan of a lot of the Transformer films. But I did like this one. I did like this one a lot, and I was glad to see it on 4K. Could it have been just as good an experience on Blu-ray? Well, I don't have to worry about that because I got the 4K edition of it. That being said, there's some negatives, and it's time to talk about those. Let's get the major one out of the way right away, and that is the cost of entry. Out of any format that has ever been out there, 4K has the highest cost of entry. VHS literally was made to go with your TV back in the time, your CRT TV. Um, when it came to DVD players, most DVD players played on regular TV. I remember I had to buy like a box for $50 because I had an older TV. But most DVD players at the time when DVD players came out would play fine on most television sets. Apparently, except for mine, I had a crappy TV set back then. Same with Blu-ray. Blu-ray did start out to fairly, more expensive, but thanks to things like the PlayStation 3 and thanks to like the way that they were kind of pushing it at that time, Blu-ray went down fairly fast in cost, and Blu-ray players too like got to an affordable cost. Now, of course, the most of the TVs at that time were uh, were 1080p. Now there were still some 720p, and there still is 720p TVs that are out there. But by far and large, most of the TVs that were coming out around the time of Blu-ray and shortly after were at the point where the TV were fairly inexpensive to upgrade, and most people have already upgraded before the Blu-ray players came out, or did shortly thereafter. Now that's not always the case. There's always going to be people that are going to stick back with the TV that they've had for years, and that's good because if you can get a TV that can last like 5 or 10 years, um, I remember having ones back in the day that lasted for like 20, but that's not a thing nowadays. got my chips over here that Santa gave me. Um, but it's not just buying the 4K player, which is actually still to this day can be extremely expensive, especially if you want to get a good 4K player. You're looking at a minimum of around $300 to get a really good one. Uh, if you can also buy like a game system, which is great if you're a gamer. Uh, you the There's the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, or you can buy the Xbox One S, which also plays the 4Ks on them. Now you won't be able to play Dolby Vision. That is something you need a dedicated player for. Even the PlayStation 5, which is it's a Sony system, doesn't play Dolby Vision. It does play Dolby Atmos, so you'll be good for audio. But if you want that extra boost in color, then you'll need a dedicated 4K player for that. For a lot of the lower end 4K players, sometimes there is the problem of every once in a while of freezing up. Some 4K discs, depending on how and where they're made, they do tend to freeze up. You do tend to, I normally say, if you're going to, before you put your 4K disc in, right after you buy it, just give it a little cleaning, because that'll often help you in it not like freezing up. Now, that being said, I've had some 4K discs that look absolutely amazing, but they've frozen up like 3 or 4 times within the film. Sometimes it just be for a second. Other times it might be for 5 to 10 seconds. Other times it might I'll actually have to stop it and take it out, clean it, put it back in again, and I'll miss like 20 seconds. The worst case scenario for me was the Arrow 4K of Wild Things, and I do have a good 4K dedicated player, so that wasn't the case of like my player wasn't good enough. Um, so that's like something that you have to look for as well. Aside from the player, you want to make sure like you've got a 4K TV, and to really see the difference in the picture quality, like sound quality, you're going to notice that as long as you got like a decent sound system, and there's another point of entry as well. Um, with a 4K TV, depending on like where you're sitting from it, they say normally like a 50 to 55 inch is the starting point, but if you got a 65 and up, you're going to see more and more the differences in the 4K quality. And not everybody has the space, the room, the money, or the time to go and buy like a 65-inch television set and to go on the market to make sure that they've got a 65-inch television set that plays 4K at the rate that they want it to be played at. That is going to give you the optimum like picture. So there is a definitely a cost issue when it comes to 4K. That's the thing. 4K at this point has gotten above what Laserdisc did at the time the Laserdisc was popular. But for the longest time, 4K was a Laserdisc of this generation, in that it was meant for kind of for hardcore cinephiles, and it has slowly made its way for the average person. Most people do have, a lot of people. Well, I can't say most. A lot of people do have like gaming systems in their house nowadays, especially ones with. Not everybody now has ones with the physical media in it, because there's streaming gaming systems now. But a lot of us do have bought the game systems with the 4K player in them for that reason. A good player like a Sony or Panasonic can cost a bit, but they definitely are worth it for when you get to see like the quality in that they do. But that's the thing. For me and for my channel, I have been film over format for a while now. So although I do like, and it's fun to get 4Ks every once in a while, I do look towards like the price point. And I used to look at getting like all the, for instance, I have the Halloween films up there on 4K, and those I got them at a good price. But I've noticed that the prices of boutique 4K discs are getting more expensive, and for regular 4Ks as well, some of them get pricier too. You just have to know when and how to buy them. For me, 4K is still the secondary format that I buy. It's not the one that I look for. I don't look for something and say like, oh, is this? I never look at a release and say, oh, but wait, is this going to come out in 4K? Am I going to have to buy this again? Because if I get a good Blu-ray, even if I get a good disc that has decent features and a good picture quality, um, if I upgrade that down the road, it's going to depend on like how much I really like that film. And it'll also depend on if it's really cheap. If it's really cheap, I might go grab it anyway. I picked up Terminator 2 on 4K. Uh, it's a horrible 4K transfer, by the way, but it's still watchable. And I got it for like under $10. So I'm okay with that. I'd still rather put on my DVD of Terminator 2 because picture quality is better. But I've got my 4K on hand and it's like doesn't take up any space. So if I just want to watch the movie, it's not really going to bother me that much. It'll look a little waxy, but it's something that I really don't mind. 4K has been the format that I probably collect I won't say the least because it's there in VHS and the formats that I have, but I do have a lot of like promise for 4K, and I like a lot of the way that is going. I like the fact that things are being priced down. What we need to get to right now is because there's less companies that are making players for the 4K system. Well, Samsung doesn't anymore, LG doesn't anymore, but still they're all around. You're gonna be able to buy them for years, so don't worry about that. Even if like Sony and like Panasonic went out tomorrow, you can still buy them. You can still buy the Oppo 4K player. It might cost you a little bit more, but it wasn't cheap in the first place if you were going to buy an Oppo player. There is a higher cost of getting into 4K. But like I said, for me personally, for the experiences that I had with my better half and having that kind of movie night at home, I think that that's really a good format for it. But that being said, could I have the movie night at home with a Blu-ray? Could I have the movie night at home with a DVD? Yes, I could, and very easily have. It's just that for us at that point, it became a kind of a couple thing to do to go out and get the 4K disc of something, and and just experience that and watch it. We went out picked up movies like Deadpool, most of the Marvel and DC films, um, even the ones that I wasn't a big fan of. I'm glad that I've got them to watch, and overall, I've been pretty happy with the 4K format. I still think that there's just I don't think it's for every film. I think for but I think it happens with Blu-ray as well. I think there's Blu-ray movies that should have been left on DVD. I think that there's 4K movies that never should have been 4K that are fine with Blu-ray. But that is going to be the case in absolutely every format going forward. Is there going to be another format going forward? Not quite sure, but it won't be because of the failure of 4K discs in sales that'll do that. What they're looking at more so than anything else is because I get asked a lot about 8K. So here's the thing: we have 8K TVs out now, and they're actually becoming a lot less expensive than they used to be. That being said, 8K TVs have not sold as well as the market wanted them to sell. And that over anything else will be any reason that like won't be because of streaming, it won't be because 4K doesn't sell well, but it'll be because if 8K TVs aren't selling at that point that they think it's gonna warrant an 8K player and an 8K disc, then they'll stick with 4K Blu-ray and DVD and just wait on it. And eventually, if it happens, it happens. If not, then 8K discs, well, they'll probably be for your next video game system. With that being said, what do I think about should you or should you not buy 4K in 2024 and 2025 and on? Well, that's up to you. Just like in all these here, I'm not here to give you a definitive answer on what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just telling you my experiences and how I feel about it to give you the positives and the negatives on it. So there's a lot of positives to buying 4K. When it's a really good remastered 4K, then you get a great and you have a great and you have a nice setup. You'll get a nice experience. The sound is fantastic. The picture looks wonderful. Not everybody is going to be into it though. Not everybody's going to like the more grainier aspect of a lot of the 4Ks. Some people do want their films to look a bit more cleaner and polished. They don't care to see the grain structure in a film. That doesn't matter to them. They're not my level of geekiness, and I completely get that. It's not going to be for everyone. It's a format that is starting to take off more, but it is still stuck as part of a niche of a niche. DVD and Blu-ray are still more the formats that people are going to just randomly go out and buy. 4K has not gotten to the point yet where people just like, oh, we're going to buy some 4K. It's either you're a collector, and you're going totally cinephile, you're a Criterion type person, you're a Vinegar Syndrome person, you just want to get those experiences as close to, and hope to get them as close to the theater, that theater experience as possible, or you just want to watch a movie. So you don't really, and it was cheap and you picked it up and you just happen to have a 4K player. But it's the point of entry that is still a sticking point for a lot of people. I know people that don't have 4K. I know people that are never going to have 4K. But I know people that are never going to have Blu-ray either. There you go. Should you buy 4K? Should you not buy 4K? That, my friends, is up to you. But either way, I hope that you have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And next, we'll be looking at buying VHS in 2024 and beyond. And that's going to be a fun one. Also, I'll bring some interesting VHS for them.
Oh God. Subscription sloth here. Just want to remind you that I know in the summertime especially it can be super warm and lazy. But if you're liking this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to go that step further and join the Patreon, there's a link for that down below. You can super sticker, super chat, or donate. But above all, just lie back and enjoy the video, because that's what I'm going to do. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed the video. And in case you didn't know, we have memberships now. So if you want to check that out, there is usually a link in the description box down below. I have to go and, well, do what Wendigos do. Don't look it up.
Merry Christmas to the people that stay afterwards. Normally this is when I show a bunch of that format. But at the beginning of this video, I did something a little bit different. I showed you some of the stuff that I got for Christmas this year. So I went kind of hard and heavy into getting some reading material this year. And I'll show you some stuff I picked up, and maybe I'll show you a couple 4Ks at the end. But I wanted to go hard into these DC Compact Comics. It's like the kind of a manga-sized version of really popular kind of DC stories that everybody should have in their collection anyway, but at a price point that isn't going to break the bank. These are like $9.99 in, I think, in the United States, and $13.50 in Canada. I have here the Wonder Woman Year One with Grant Morrison, one of my favorite writers. I've got the Batman Court of Owls here with Scott Snyder. Batman Hush with Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. If you're a fan of the trailer of Superman came out, you're going to want to read this. Also, Superman, Grant Morrison, and Frank Quitely. Next year, there's going to be Superman Birthright, which you really should read. It's going to become Compact Comics as well. The Harley Quinn and Gotham City Sirens there with Paul Dini. If you like horror, then there's American Vampire Book 1 with Scott Snyder, and of course there's a story written by Stephen King in it. And of course, if you like mysteries and sci-fi, then Fire Sector is a really good one. That is a kind of a different one for a brand new Green Lantern, and kind of the mystery type one. Now, I did get the first two of the DC's finest books. I picked up Batman Year 1 and Year 2, which I have finished reading. Batman Year 1 and the stories all around it are good. Batman Year 2, I'm glad I own it, but it's not one of the better Batman stories. And this is Superman, the first superhero, which has all the stuff from Superman and Action Comics from 1938 to 1940. Now, we're not going to stop there, though, because you know me and my media. What did my mom get me for Christmas this year? Well, it had to do with some stuff that I really, really like. I love movies, especially Lucio Fulci stuff. And when Eban Press put out, this is Lustig first. Let's get to Lustig. Put out Maniac. I knew I need to have this. I'll be doing unboxings of my Eban Press stuff. This is the only one that I've got open and I've read some of, but I'm going to be reading some more of these today. I also have, now this is the second printing, but it is Lucio Fulci Zombie. Each of these here, they all have like they each have like 3 to 4 issues in them. Sometimes it's like a 3 issue story. They'll have a fourth issue that has a kind of like behind the scenes making of all this type of stuff. There's interviews in here. There's like cards and bookmarks and posters and all kinds of like slipcases and all kinds of really interesting, fun stuff in here. So really, really interested in checking this out. And one of my favorites is of course House by the Cemetery. I love House by the Cemetery. It is such a wonderful Fulci film, and these Ebon press releases are just so incredibly good. And I will be unboxing each of these on their own because they truly, really, really do deserve it. And I think these are absolutely freakingly, stunningly gorgeous. I still have to pick up Maniac 2, which is the only one in the series that I don't have yet. But there you go. If you stayed for the after sequence, then that. Now, as for some of the 4Ks that I actually did enjoy and like, I was a Batman fan, so I remember buying Lego Batman and getting the Batman. This is the one I saw in theater. I had a twisted ankle. I went on crutches to see this movie. Batman Returns. I saw all these original Batmans in theater, and I liked them all, even the cheesiest one. Even this one I had fun with. And there were just some incredible films out there. Like, so I can, represent a bit more. I remember going out and we picked on Boxing Day, I picked up American Made, and I haven't watched it yet, to be honest with you. The Justice League, this is the Whedon cut of Justice League. I still have to get the really long cut, which is a better cut, but still, neither one of them are my favorite, to be honest with you. I just was not really into either one of those stories. But now there's some decent stuff here. I didn't like the Suicide Squad that much. I loved Wonder Woman. Man of Steel I thought was okay. I didn't think that Zack Snyder understood Superman, but and Batman versus Superman, the less I can say about that one, probably the the better. But that's just me. Like, some people love those, and that's their Batman, Superman. Some people just grew up with that. Like, I'm just older, so maybe that's why. But I am really looking forward to the new stuff. Anyway, no matter what you like, there's just out there. Now, some of these are better than others. Some of the early Marvel 4Ks, for instance, are extremely low. You really got to crank up your TV sound in order to get, to hear them really well. I remember Thor, I think Thor Ragnarok, at one of the early Thors, I had like the sound was low. Like, you had to really crank it up. I had a decent sound system too, so that was really surprising. But with that being said, let me know in the comment section down below what did you get for Christmas? What are some of your favorite 4Ks? Do you not like 4Ks? Do you stick with Blu-ray? Do you think DVD is better? Maybe you're a VHS person, or maybe you're clicking Laserdiscs and CDs. If so, let me know. And like, share, subscribe. If you want to become a Patreon, you can do that, and that is in the become one of our cool Crimson Cult members. That is in the section down below, as well as we have a membership there, which you heard about just before this here as well. So all good ways to support in the new year. We got a lot of really good stuff coming up, and see you soon. Have a very Merry Christmas.